Hey everyone, welcome back one and all to another episode of the Drunken Housewife Review.
Woo!
I am Ian, the host.
And I'm Sarah.
She is the Drunken Housewife and I am the host and husband. And our today's topic is...
Thunder Force!
I love this movie. I can't rave enough about it, but we're going to rave enough about it.
We're going to rave.
So anyway, if you want to bring up the plot of the movie.
The plot of the movie. The official, according to IMDb, plot of the movie is: in a world where supervillains are commonplace, two estranged childhood best friends reunite after one devises a treatment that gives them powers to protect the city. Dun, dun, dun.
And is starring Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer in one of her few comic roles. Octavia Spencer's
Yeah.
roles.
I mean, she did like a couple of voiceovers for some kid movies that were comedic, but she's mainly known as a dramatic actress.
She is.
But she keeps up with Melissa McCarthy.
She did.
Of course, now the two of them have been friends for like 20 some odd years. Yeah. So you can tell they've got that friend bond.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to preface this. Where's my mic? Warning. If you are not a fan of Melissa McCarthy's, you probably will not like this movie. However, if you love Melissa McCarthy movies, this is your jam!
Definitely. And we have to preface that with also saying it's probably going to be panned by fanboys, but let me reiterate, it was not made for fanboys.
It was not made for fanboys. This is, I'm not gonna lie, a stupid comedy superhero movie that is like a perfect, like, parody. Not really parody, but comedic homage.
I would say so.
To a superhero movie.
Definitely, because it has all the elements of it, and it has the look and the feel and everything. Mm-hmm. But it happens to be two middle-aged comedic women.
Exactly.
And they did such an in the look, even the look of them, like the Mutt and Jeff and where the rough and tumble rocker quote of Melissa McCarthy, as opposed to the Octavia Spencer
super brain.
Genius.
Yeah,
super genius.
Yeah, so, it starts with a brief explanation, with, Octavia Spencer's character basically giving you the whole, like a massive pulse of interstellar comic rays have hit the Earth. And it causes like this genetic mutation in people, but it only hits people who are already like genetically predisposed to be psychopaths.
Exactly.
So it only hits the bad people, not the good people.
Exactly.
So there's no like Superman to battle the Lex Luthor or whatever in this situation, and they call the bad people miscreants instead of like mutants or misfits or what, because that's been used.
Exactly.
That's been used. So Ben Falcone or just Falcone?
I want to say Falcone. Okay,
Ben Falcone wrote, directed, even has a cameo in it, as Ben does.
Yes.
And he wrote this like specifically for Melissa and Octavia. Like, they've been friends for like, forever, but have never been in anything together, and they were really wanting to be in something together. And so Ben's like, hey, I got this idea, and before Melissa even heard the idea, she was like, sure, let's do it. Because she really wanted to do something with Octavia. And
those two together were very, very funny.
They were hilarious. Anybody that can roll with Melissa McCarthy when she's like just improvising shit off the top of her head.
Exactly.
I got to give props to. I've got to give props to, because some of her improv stuff just, there's no way. There's no way.
So if you liked her movies like Spy or
Identity Theft.
Identity Theft, which Jason Bateman, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yes.
But then also one of my favorite, Happy Time Murders with the Adult Muppet Company branch.
Which, if you didn't like that, fuck you, because it
I would
was
have to
hilarious.
agree. So it's adult puppets with Melissa McCarthy's sensibilities thrown in. So
yeah,
it was really, really good.
It was. But
so if
back
you
to
enjoy
these
other movies, you will
Yes,
enjoy this
yes.
because this definitely is her jam.
It really is. If you did not like Identity Theft or Tammy or
Not so much Tammy, but
Tammy,
Spy.
yeah, Spy.
Spy was very similar.
Or Life of the Party.
Life of the Party, yeah. Exactly.
Or what was the other one she was in with Jason Bateman? Something with intelligence in the title. I'm trying to look it up. I want to say like Super Intelligence.
I believe that is
or something like that.
But anyway, her relationship with Jason Bateman is very refined. This is, like you said, the third movie they were in together. Mm-hmm. And those two have a very good relationship as far as being able to roll off of each other.
A lot of their scenes in this movie, I'm just wondering how much was improv and how much was scripted. Because the two of them just, I mean, you can tell that they're comfortable with each other, that they trust each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I am just betting that...
Yeah, they're just down for whichever one. Yeah,
I'm just betting a lot of it was been just like letting the camera roll and just catching the magic. So let's backtrack. So, Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer play Lydia Berman and Emily Stanton. Emily Stanton, her parents were killed by miscreants, and she gets transferred to the same school because she's now living with Grandma, and she gets transferred to the school that's in Grandma's neighborhood. And there she meets Lydia Berman, who stands up for her because, the class bullies want to make fun of her because
she's smart.
She's smart, and he's calling her a nerd. And Melissa McCarthy's character, Lydia, says she's smart. There's a difference. Punches out the bully, makes him climb into a dumpster. I mean, basically, and that was like the start of their friendship.
Exactly. Kind of the brains and the brawn.
Yeah, and
put it in those terms.
Yeah, and Emily's whole goal is her parents have started work trying to figure out some way to beat the miscreants, and they're geneticists.
Yes.
So
they had started the work.
They had started the work, and
Emily's going to finish.
Emily's goal, and she, as happens sometimes, the two friends get into a major argument because they are different. They are two totally different kinds of people, and they get into an argument, and it severs their friendship. Fast forward years later, and miscreants are just running wild through the city, and Lydia's trying to reconnect with Emily for the high school reunion.
Yes,
and ends up at because Emily is now Emily Stanton, super scientist who has millions of dollars of backing for her research.
And she had the new building of her research building.
Yeah, so she's got like Stanton 4.0, like super headquarters.
Exactly. With
the mirrored windows and the whole nine. And Emily's Emily. She's just one of those, she's a good person, but she's just not the smartest tool in the shed. But she'd give you the shirt off her back as long as it's not one of her authentic 80s concert t-shirts. Which I was a big fan of. She was wearing a Slayer shirt. And I'm like, Slayer? Yeah, Slayer.
And they did have little bits of speed metal in the action sequences, which I enjoyed.
So the night of the reunion, she goes to find Emily. She's like, hey, they've like reconnected over text because the guy that owns like this little like diner that Emily goes to knows, or
Both
not Emily, Lydia, that Lydia goes to, ran into Emily's grandma and got Emily's phone number so that Lydia could call her or text. And they've been talking through text. Kind of the olive branch has been extended. But then Emily doesn't show up at the reunion, and Lydia goes after her and ends up at Stanton headquarters.
And that's where she got her superpowers quite by mistake.
Yeah, and that's...
they were supposed to be...
That's where, by not listening to Emily saying, don't touch anything, we all know where that's going to go. The second Emily says the words, don't touch anything, you're like, Lydia's going to touch shit.
And she does.
It's going to go bad. And she does. And she ends up getting the first dose of this stuff that that Emily's created to, create a superhero out of somebody who's just normal. And it
gives her the super strength.
Yeah, it gives her super strength. And it's one of those, once you've started it, you have to finish it or you die sort of sitch. And so Lydia's kind of forced to keep going through the treatments and the training and all that, which, what was that dude's name? Tony? That she kept punching and
poor
injuring.
Tony. Tony gets abused in this
because they have like boxing matches as a one guy, and it starts out, she's pretty equal with him, but as the treatments go on, poor Tony shows up in like the full like padding, like head to toe padding, and she still manages to injure him.
Yeah.
Poor Tony.
Because she's getting stronger.
Because she's getting stronger and stronger. And one of the ways that they test her strength is Emily has rigged, the carnival, like the big hammer where you hit it and you have to ring the bell to win a prize.
Exactly, yeah.
And Lydia's like, why? And Emily's like, 'cause I'm fun. That's like a big thing with Emily. She's like, I'm fun.
She's wanting to try to say, well, I'm smart, but I'm fun.
I'm
too.
fun, and but she's really not.
Yeah.
She's really, God love her.
She does sneak some in.
She does sneak in, but I think like Emily starts pulling more and more and more of that back out of her.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And we meet Emily's daughter.
Emily's daughter is very good in this.
And Emily's daughter, Tracy, is that her name?
I believe so. She is a child prodigy as well. She's super smart and helps in the research.
Yeah.
And becomes vital in the end.
Yes.
Because she's a gadget person.
Her name is Tracy.
And she also, we don't want to give too many spoilers.
But she's a super brain like Mom.
So, yeah.
But Mom's so concentrated on this serum stuff that a lot of what Tracy needs as a mom kind of goes by the wayside. Like, just talking about boys and stuff.
Yeah.
And Emily kind of starts filling that void for Tracy. And Tracy really starts bonding. But to Emily's credit, her big thing is listen to your mom. She knows what she's talking about. Or Lydia. Yeah. Listen to your mom. She knows what she's talking about. She's always telling Tracy that. Listen to your mom. She knows. So, I mean, she's not trying to...
Well, Lydia becomes the best friend.
Yeah, she's not trying to take Mom's place.
Yeah. She's just becoming like the best friend she
can. She is becoming like Mom's best friend again.
Yeah.
That Lydia feels she can talk, or that Tracy feels like she can talk to Lydia about stuff that she can't talk to her mom about, which every kid needs that. Mm-hmm. Every kid on the planet. I don't care how cool a parent you think you are. There's shit that your kids just need to bounce off another human being.
Okay, well, let's move off to Bobby Cannavale.
Cannavale?
Cannavale? Is it Bobby Cannavale?
Bobby, if we're mispronouncing your name, we apologize, but I say it's Cannavale. He says it's Cannavale. Whichever one of us is right, somebody let us know in the comments down below.
Exactly.
We all know it's me with Cannavale, but that's beside the point. He's hot, number one. Let's just get by that.
But he always plays a very good villain.
He plays a damn good villain. And in this, he plays the King.
That's his nickname, the King. And don't get that wrong.
Yeah, don't call him King.
He's the King.
He's the King.
So he play. Well, the thing about this too is that he's the antagonist, and he's working. And you find out that he's working with the miscreants.
First, you find out he's working with the miscreants.
Yes, but just to avoid too many spoilers.
Yeah, that's right. Too many spoilers.
Too many spoilers is that the only thing I not so much didn't like is just the predictability of the plot in as much as what it entailed, because it's like, oh, well, you know that the King is working with the miscreants. You know it's going to take this turn to a certain
There were a
degree.
couple of times where...
Take that turn to a
Yeah,
certain
there were
degree.
a couple of times where, like, a character would do something and you're like, ah... there's something up with that character.
Exactly.
It's
kind
like a
of
red
set
flag.
up.
But
Yeah,
I
red
think
flags.
in that way, it really is following some supervillain movies or superhero movies.
I think part of it is parodying that
Because
part of it.
yeah,
too.
it just
It's like, you know,
it just ratchets it up a notch. Because like a lot of superhero movies, you know, the first time you watch it, there is that subtle clue that somebody's working with a bad guy.
exactly. Yeah.
And the first time you watch it, you miss it. But then the second time, you're like,
No,
there it is.
I picked it up the first
Well,
time.
but I'm saying in typical superhero
exactly,
movies, and then you rewatch it, and you're like, there it is. How did I miss that clue? Well, in this one, it's like, slap, here's the clue.
Yeah.
And with the king, right away, you're like, there's something up with this dude.
Yeah, even when he's posing as the politician in the
running for mayor.
Yeah, because you could see where he had just the miscreant attack, yet he still
Survived,
soldiers on,
yeah.
and because he's for the people, blah blah. And just in that instance, like, oh, he's working with the miscreants.
Yeah.
We know that.
But yeah, so Lydia and Emily, Emily decides there was like two different superpowers that she had formulated
Yes.
for, and since Lydia took the super strength one accidentally,
Yes.
then Emily's like, well, I'll go ahead and take the invisibility one.
Instead
Now,
of having both.
instead of having both. Now, the hilarity, Melissa McCarthy is just hilarious. I'm sorry. If you don't like her, deal. But the method of her getting the superpower injections is always painful and always horrible and just, like, hilarious at the same time because of how she reacts.
Exactly.
But then Emily gets to take these 2 pills.
Yeah, she just has to take some
Just
pills.
these 2 pills. And she's like, well, they're big pills. They're big pills. But yeah, so they go through all this training, and they have this former CIA chick working with them. What is her name? Allie working
Yes.
with them. And she's like, "You guys are ready." And we know we've heard that there's a miscreant attack going on, like right now over at this liquor store or convenience store.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
liquor
yeah.
store, convenience store.
Oh, we didn't talk about Jason Bateman's actual character.
Well, that's where we're getting to it. We're getting to it.
Sorry, my
I
bad.
have a process.
You go right
I
ahead.
have a process. He's ruining my process. Anyway,
Continue on.
so they're like, you need to get to where this attack is. Now, here's the deal. We always know that the superhero drives a kick-ass car. However, 2 middle-aged women in superhero gear trying to get into a purple Lamborghini.
Oh, and plus size as well.
Plus sizes. I mean, let's just face it. Octavia and Melissa McCarthy, they're both very voluptuous, sexy women, and they're packed into the superhero gear, and they're trying to get it. I'm sorry, but a Lamborghini is not made for comfort. It's made for show.
Yeah.
And I know I could not get into a Lamborghini. And they're like trying to get themselves in, and then they get to the location, and like Octavia Spencer's character ends up like crawling out of the Lamborghini. It's hilarious. Anybody, I'm going to say like 45 up, that's ever tried to get into a Lamborghini and you're not a size 2, you understand. You understand. You understand. Or any kind of little car. Not necessarily like a smart car, for God's sake. Anyway, so they get to the store. Where do we meet Jason Bateman's crab?
He's half crab, half man.
Oh my God. The crab. Crab is just fucking hilarious. He's man, and but he's got the crab arms and the crab claws. And whenever he's running away from the situation, the claws go up and he clicks him as he like runs sideways, like a crab does.
I know, that was awesome.
I mean, that was just one of those details where you're just like, oh my
Yes.
God, that is hilarious. That one little detail where he just runs sideways and clicking the claws.
And what was funny is that it was subtle, yet
Yeah,
you
you noticed it, and you're just like, that's hilarious.
It's
That
like
is
somebody
hilarious.
adding a little joke
Just-
on the tail end of whatever's going on.
Yeah.
That just like topped it.
It does. And
Melissa McCarthy's real life husband is one of the henchmen.
one of the henchmen that
and poor guy goes through a lot.
poor guy.
He goes through a lot of hell.
He goes through some shit. Poor Ben. Kenny is his character name. And during this like whole beat down of the bad guys, Octavia Spencer's Emily, her daughter has created like this taser, because basically, other than turning invisible and her physical training,
She doesn't really
have anything other than that. So they've got her this
Impressive as
weapon.
they are, she still needs a little extra.
She has the weapon. Well, she turned the weapon up all the way, even though Tracy's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
She said, keep it at this side.
Keep it, do
No,
like
no.
5,
See?
6. No, they crank it up to 11.
Exactly.
So she zaps poor Kenny with it, and it like fuses to his face, and I mean, he's like screaming, and she's screaming because she's just like freaking out.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It is hilarious, but there is a moment that we're not going to go into because you have to experience it, where you see that Lydia and Crab have a connection.
Exactly.
There's an instantaneous, freaking hilarious dream sequence. Just
Yeah, so you
must experience
Lydia,
it.
who now has the super strength and everything against the Crab Man.
yeah,
And they have a connection, and is just hilarious.
you can tell when they look at each other, it's like yeah. So it's just hilarious, and yes, Crab and Lydia end up hooking up. There's a whole melted butter Old Bay scene that just
It's awesome.
is hilarious. But like I said, every scene between Jason Bateman and Melissa McCarthy, I just want to see like the improv that didn't make it.
Oh yeah, the outtakes.
The
Definitely
outtakes.
see the outtakes of everything that.
Because you can tell that these two are just like let loose, because they are so good. Mm-hmm. And they bond over the fact that now both of them with their powers, they crave raw chicken, and there are a few raw chickens eating scenes.
Oh yeah, those two
That are just going to make you gag. And spoiler alert, it's not really raw chicken. But yeah, it's just hilarious. But yeah, obviously Thunder Force saves the day.
Yep.
And Tracy is instrumental in helping save the day, but we're not going to go into how.
Exactly. We don't want to have too many.
We don't want to have too many spoilers.
We love talking about this movie, but we don't want to spoil.
We don't want to spoil, but yeah, it's one of those.
It's definitely a popcorn movie where it's just fun.
It's just a funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun, and if you don't, it is on Netflix right now. And if you don't have a subscription, they have a trial, so you can just check out the movie and not have Netflix. It's all good.
Side note: we're not sponsored by Netflix.
Exactly. Well, let's do a summary.
Okay, so summary. I love this because it's the women that save the day. It's a very female-centric
it is
movie,
which you don't really see that much, especially since Ghostbusters and people were kind of had mixed reviews on this. But
which I love Ghostbusters.
we love Ghostbusters as well.
I love the female-driven Ghostbusters. Those of you that didn't like it can suck it. But anyway, it is very female-oriented, so there's going to be those people that are like, oh, well, it's just anti-male or whatever, suck it. How many years now have we been doing superhero movies where the woman is the sidekick or the secondary thought? She may be a superhero in her own right, but the guy gets to lead the day. It's time for women to kick ass. And these two women, I gotta say, they had to do some physical training for this.
They did, and they did an awesome job.
Hey, wow. There's no way I could have done it. But yeah, it's very female oriented, which I love, very girl power oriented. One of the major miscreants is female as well.
Yes.
So you've got that balance of good and bad with the girls. But yeah, what special effects there were are really good.
Yes.
The comedy, I mean, there's just so many little. There's some broad,
nuanced.
yeah. There's
It's
some
very
broad
nuanced.
comedy, but then there's just those little snippets. Just those little snippets that you're like, oh, like the crab walk.
Like the crab walk, yeah.
You know, it's like, it's one of those blink and you miss it things, but it's just that one little thing that makes it perfect and makes it hilarious and just, yeah.
So what for your rating from 1 to awesome? You say
I'm
it's
saying awesome. I'm saying awesome.
11?
It's definitely one of those movies that if you just need to laugh and you are and you like superhero movies and you are a fan of Melissa McCarthy's, so you're always like, yeah, let me check out her new stuff. Check this out. Check it out. Cause yeah, it's so good. It is so good.
So, anywho's, are we about ready to wrap this up?
I mean, I could keep talking about it, but I somehow think eventually people are going to stop listening to me.
Well, we'll start talking in circles.
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to start circling the drain and going down the rabbit hole.
So, there you go.
And all that. Can I talk again about how hot Bobby Cannavale is?
You go right ahead.
Because, I'm sorry, Bobby, dude, especially you in a suit. Dear God, my ovaries twitch. Okay, I think I've said
well, from the male perspective, as being a Melissa McCarthy fan, in as much as that I think she's pretty freaking hot. Her in that outfit, yeah.
I'm gonna have to admit, yeah, Olivia and Melissa McCarthy
well, Octavia as well.
Yeah,
Looks
Alyssa.
really good in that
Yeah,
outfit.
Octavia and Melissa in their superhero outfits. Yeah.
They did an awesome job of really kind of bringing up their good features.
And I've always thought
so,
Melissa McCarthy was so pretty anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty, but yeah.
So, anywho's, we've already wrapped this up?
Yes, and remember, down in the comments, tell us which one is pronouncing Bobby's name correctly. I say Cannavale. He says...
Cannavale?
You say Cannaval or Carnival. I say it's Cannavale.
There you go.
Let us know down in the comments which one of us is pronouncing it correctly. Because
be
I say it's me. We all know it's me. I'm right all the time.
And be sure to hit subscribe so we can keep doing this because we're having a blast doing it.
Yes, because I get to drink margaritas. Oh, side note. Dwayne Johnson, if you're listening, if you send me a bottle of your tequila, then our next one will be sponsored by your tequila brand.
I would not have a problem.
I would not have a problem with that at all because I hear the tequila is awesome. Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, if you are listening, send me some of your tequila and then our next review we can say sponsored by. Deal? Deal.
All right, we're heading now and have a good one, folks.
Woo!